Hey guys, so my first video kind of got interrupted, so I'm having to redo a little bit, but I had already walked you through some things. So we are going to, as you know, have a test on Friday over exponents and exponential functions. So I wanted to kind of give you an overview of the big topics that we've been talking about. The first big topic we talked about was simplifying exponents using laws of exponents. I gave you a little piece of paper that had the law of exponents on it, and you should have taped it into your journal. But here's an example, and I'll kind of already walked you through this example. I will kind of go back through. This is a pretty simple simplifying exponents problem, and what you first need to look at is the leading coefficients. Well, these leading coefficients you have to think about. Can this be divided? Can 15 be divided by 3? Well, it's just 5. So you can go ahead and rewrite this as x to the 5th just means x times x times x times x times x. And then this x to the 3rd means x times x times x. And it's all divided. And when you divide exponents, you subtract them. So in this case, it will be these x's will be canceled out. They'll be subtracted. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So that's what you'll be left with. 5x to the second power. Okay, the next thing that we have talked about is exponential functions, including growth and decay. And you should have some word problems to practice at home. But here is an example. I wanted to also go over the different formulas. Growth is y equals a times 1 plus the rate raised to the x power. And the only difference in decay is you're subtracting that rate. Okay, so here is a word problem, and we're going to do this together. It says, Linda is playing a video game in which she establishes and builds a city. The population is 200,000 people, a number that increases by 5% every year. What will the population be in 11 years? Okay, so on this, that is a growth. So the population will hopefully grow every year in her city. So it will be a growth. Well, your initial, you have to think about what all of these mean. This A value is the initial value. That initial value, all you have to do is plug in your numbers. So your initial value is 200,000 people plus 1, that's going to stay there. And the rate is 5%. Well, 5% changed into a decimal is 0.05. So you're going to write 0.05 raised to how many times it's going to happen. Well, it's going to happen for 11 years. So you're going to plug all of this in to your calculator, just as it appears. Make sure you put parentheses just right here. And you're going to get 342,067 people, 0.8. So we can round to, can't have 0.8 people, just like the other day you can have, so you'll have 68 people. You can have a fraction of a rabbit. So that's an example of a word problem, and you should be able to finish the rest of those growth and decay problems that we have done for homework. The next thing that we need to talk about is the vocabulary. We've talked about it a little bit, but we haven't made a video about it, so I wanted to kind of follow up with this. So biggest thing is you need to know exponential functions including the following vocabulary: domain and range. You need to know the domain and range of an exponential function. So, and you need to also know the y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept is where it intersects the y-axis. So, the next thing is asymptote. The asymptote is like an invisible line in which the exponential function looks like it's going to touch, but it's never actually going to touch. So we're going to look at this example right here, and we're going to graph it on the calculator. So if you want to graph with me, so we're doing a function, and we're doing 2 to the x power plus 4. I'm going to graph that. And so what it does is it shifts it up 4 units. Well, in the parent function, the y-intercept is at 1. So it's going to shift it up to the 5th. So your y-intercept in this case, with the y-intercept is going to be 5. And what's our x value going to be? 0. So this means 0, 5. That's your y-intercept. The domain. Let's zoom this out a little bit.
Okay,
and then it's going to go for all x values. So your domain is going to be x negative infinity less than or equal to x less than or equal to positive infinity. And then your range is going to be your y values. So you're going to look at your asymptote. Your asymptote is going to be at 4 because that's where you're going. So your asymptote is going to be 4. So it's going to be y is 4 less than or equal to y less than or equal to positive infinity. Okay, I hope this all helps, and you have a test on Friday, so let me know if you have any more questions.